what you see, like a battery. I'm staying charged on my feet, I'm like a factory. Dropping lines like an assembly. I'm staying on point, it's my strategy. Feel like they tracking me.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to ZukaTube, and today I'm going to be reviewing a series called Reacher. This just came out on Amazon, and it was released February 4th of 2022, and it's based on a bunch of novels from a guy named Lee Child. And it's all about this character named Jack Reacher. You may have seen a couple movies with Tom Cruise. Well, this is apparently a lot more of an accurate version of Jack Reacher than little Tom Cruise, right? And this is the first season here is based on the first book called Killing Floor. And I'm pretty interested to see if with the up-and-coming seasons, if they get cleared for more seasons. I think they're cleared for a second season. But if they'll do that and they'll go for the second season, maybe the second book, right? Like the first season, first book, second season, second book, and so on and so forth. Hopefully they do something like that. I think that'd be really cool, right? Especially because a lot of shows like that are based off of any kind of book or series of books, they'll mix all the different books together and they'll mix and match and do an adaptation that's like loosely based and all this different stuff. Well, apparently not so much here, right? And it's also cool because this is a character where you see big guys like this, you know, are usually like these big asshole characters or like these brutish, dumb kind of characters. And obviously not Jack Reacher, especially even if you've seen the movies with Tom Cruise. This is a very like detective-like guy, you know, and it's very interesting to see this kind of character on screen. I know it's like the very cliche and formulaic kind of way they lay out the show in certain ways because it's this kind of action thriller type show, but it's almost a breath of fresh air to have this kind of character because obviously today you see a lot of stuff where everything's got to be, you know, like very I don't know what's the word, like the heroes kind of got to be beaten up constantly or bested by supporting characters or other characters that they do for like, you know, diversity's sake or in like just to have like other characters be strong and empowered. And you're like, you know, like you saw with characters like in the Loki series, right? You're not getting that in this. He's not constantly, this is a character that will not be constantly bested by every sub character around him and ridiculed in a sense. This is a character that will constantly be able to outsmart the people around him, right? And it's very, like, it just feels good to watch something like that, right? At least from what I'm used to. So with this, I'm going to play the trailer. I'm going to read you the little summary, talk about a little bit of it, you know, play a couple clips and everything like that, and then we'll do some spoilers right at the end. So let's get right into this trailer here.
You boys know what's about to happen to you. You leave now.
This whole diner eating pie, like you didn't get to eat that pie, and that seems to be an ongoing thing in this, and it's actually pretty funny.
What in God's name is a guy like that doing in Margrave?
What's a guy like that doing in jail? Zip ties?
Cuffs didn't fit him.
You guys recycle.
7 bodies since you set foot in my town.
I was arrested for murder.
Damn.
Now you want my help?
I want you to do what I say.
Lots
You
of
just go
bodies.
wherever you want, whenever you want.
Dude in the
It's always
tweed, that's
Joss.
Finley,
I'll
and
cover this
then
whole
the female
operation.
cop, that's Roscoe.
And burn it to the ground.
It's a great kind of
You boys know what's about to happen.
triangle
to you. You leave now.
dynamic there of the friend group as they work together.
Getting yourself arrested for murder.
Shooter was someone who knows firearms well.
Lightning.
Bullets were 95 grain. That's subsonic. This wasn't a first timer.
These people are connected and stone cold killers.
So be smart, don't break the law, and promise me you won't end up in another holding cell.
No.
Looking for payback?
I love that. He's just like, no.
Justice, vengeance. Looking for the whole gang.
You're gonna kill a whole lot of people, aren't you?
Already started.
You're about to get your ass kicked.
No, I'm just gonna break the hands of 3 drunk kids.
There's 4 of us.
One of you's got to drive to the hospital.
It's not a twist off. Show off.
So yeah, it seems like a pretty typical kind of action thriller detective show and stuff like that. And it is in a lot of ways, but it's a really kind of fun ride all the way through. The characters are really well done. Reacher is just a very enjoyable character. You know, it's not like the overly ridiculous stereotype, I guess, like alpha male type character. This is a guy who, you know, by the summary here, it says Jack Reacher, right? A former U.S. Army military policeman, which is like a huge understatement. This guy's got like all the medals and shit. He looks like a well-graduated Boy Scout, but like of the military, right? My dude's all kind of done up with all the scout badges. And now it says he visits the fictional rural town of Margrave, Georgia, and quickly becomes embroiled in a violent clash with a brutal criminal conspiracy. So basically, you see in this show, Jack Reacher, he walks into this town by some weird coincidence, you know, something involving his brother and some music and this and that reminded him of a guy, the jazz player, right, that played in this town. So something just made him go there. And judging by him and his life, the way they play it out, this guy always finds trouble. And at the same time, nothing seems to be just like a coincidence in a sense. There are reasons for all the things that happen or the paths that he chooses to go. And he obviously realizes that, and you realize that a lot throughout this and the reason he goes there. But either way, he gets there and is immediately arrested when he goes into this diner for being suspected of murder, right? He's near the murder site of, you know, some people who were killed, and he's the only person seen in the area, and he's a new guy in town and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And they arrest him. They go through the thing. They find all these deets about him like you see in the trailer, and it becomes a big conflict. But either way, you do see at one point he does get arrested right in the beginning of this. And this is where he starts to find out a little bit more of what's going on in the town. There's a bigger conspiracy going on, and people start targeting him in the prison and going after him. And that's where you see great clips like the one that you saw in the trailer that I'm going to play right here. He's scouting around. He knows that people are looking at him when he's in the prison, so he takes a bathroom break, let's quote, right? These are shades he got off of somebody who tried to intimidate his cellmate earlier on. And he's prepping. He knows what's coming. This guy is extremely perceptive. Everywhere he goes, he's silent, but he's a, like, you know, very intimidating guy, and he's constantly profiling and going through and scoping out every aspect of every inch of an area he's in. You can tell he's very diligent in that sense, and he knows exactly how to handle every situation.
If you boys knew what's about to happen to you, you'd leave now. So I'll give you to the count of 3. 1.
He doesn't even give him a 3 count. He's like, fuck that. Now, this is a lot different than a movie, you know. This is a series, and this dude's doing crazy fight scenes and shit every episode. Grueling stuff. Oh, brutal stuff, right? And you get great, intense, and quickly executed fight scenes like that every single episode. The pacing is really well done, especially the dynamic, because after he gets arrested and the people he meets within the police department and everything, and the people he starts working with in the town, as he starts to realize he's a little more involved potentially, or loosely involved in this conspiracy and what's going on with this criminal thing here, then he realizes, like, he starts to bond with a couple people here, and it's the one chief there in the police department and one of the officers. Now, the one lady officer is Roscoe Conklin, and she's one of the main people that kind of gets I guess the job of like, go tail him, see what he's doing, make sure he's not up to no good, blah 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 blah, and reporting back to Mr. Finley, right, who's the chief, and Roscoe's just a regular officer. And Oscar Finley is the smaller black dude you saw with all the tweed outfits and shit, and he's a pretty cool dude. He's a guy who came from Boston, and he's got a lot of weird kind of OCD like aspects of him, and he's a really by the book kind of guy. And he doesn't want to be bested by Reacher, right? And the kind of push and pull aspect and friends but not friends aspect of their relationship, where everybody's kind of at each other's throats but at the same time like need each other, is a great dynamic, obviously, in shows, and they do a really good job of it in this, for sure. And basically he starts to help them, and they realize this guy is a lot more skilled in every kind of aspect of what they need for this job than they realize. So they obviously start using it to their advantage, but at the same time, Reacher is a complete loose cannon and does whatever the hell he wants. And he's unpredictable, and he's violent, and the whole nine, right? But at the same time, you never feel like he's too out of line. He makes crazy decisions, but he does it, and you're like, who cares, dude? That guy is a piece of shit. And Reacher knows every single little detail about these people, right? And he can sit there and read somebody on a very like Sherlock Holmes type of aspect. And a famous thing they say that's in these books is the whole thing that, Reacher said nothing, right? Because this guy, like I said, he's diligent. He goes in and investigates every single aspect of where he's at, and he knows a lot more than you would think in that Sherlock kind of aspect of people's lives, the decisions they've made, what decisions they might make, all that kind of stuff. And basically what happens is he finds out that somebody died that he actually knows. And I'm not going to really give away what that connection is, but that sends him kind of on this rampage to go and find out who's responsible. And then he kind of engulfs himself into this kind of criminal conspiracy going on in this town. And you see this town is basically a growing town in the middle of nowhere that's brought up by this family called the Kleiners. And they have a big company there, and they're apparently doing a lot of good for the town. And you know how stories like that go. They always run these towns. You see in a lot of shows, like and in real life, in a lot of like mining towns, for example, and things like that, all across the world, the United States, things like that. You see these families that develop in these areas, and then these towns grow, but they pretty much damn near run the town. It seems like they have a lot of pull, right? And you see that there's a lot of fear of this power in the town. You see there's a lot of dirty cops. You see there's a lot of dirty people within the community that obviously have debts, or one way or another feel like they have loyalties to the Kleiner family, and there's a lot of potential criminals in many aspects, in this show that they kind of put out in front of you, and you never know really who to suspect. And you also see another Smallville actor. You see Kristen Cruick in there, who plays a character named Hubble's wife, Charlie, right? Or Charlene, I guess, technically, right? But they call her Charlie. And she's in it for quite a lot of episodes, and it's really cool to see her in a role, especially with Alan Ritchson, because they were both on Smallville together for quite a lot of episodes as well. And but yeah, it's great to see these characters all play out, and it's funny to see these short, kind of quick one-liners that Reacher will give before he like dishes out some violence on a character and really like whoops some ass. Like, here, I'm gonna play another funny clip for you right here.
Now give me your file on Pete Job.
So, let's start at the beginning. What was the date that delivery truck hit you?
There was no truck. I made up a story so you'd see me. Now give me your file on Pete Jobling.
Excuse me?
A client you represented for a traffic violation and disorderly conduct charge. His file. Get it.
I don't know what game you're playing out here, but get out of my office.
No.
Excuse me?
He does that all the time.
Who the hell do you think you are?
He's just like,
A pissed
no.
off drifter with nothing to lose.
Or you want to get arrested for trespassing?
Pull up Jobling's file now.
I will ruin your life with one phone call.
I'll end your life with one phone.
I'll end your life with one phone.
Pull up Jobling's file.
Now he's about to demonstrate that shit.
Print it. Staple.
Then he just does this shit just for the hell of it. Just to fuck with people. And it's funny as hell.
Thank you.
So, yeah, there's lots of great moments like that throughout the show. And obviously it trips people out and gets people all kind of pissed off, especially the police when he handles situations like this. And he has like these funny moments where like, you know, he'll get in a situation with people when he's out on his own and, you know, he'll end up like killing somebody. You know, there'll be a criminal and they'll be after him. And then he'll go back to the guys and they'll be like, what happened with this? And he'll be like, oh, you know, hit a dead end. And then they'll find out and they'll be like, a dead end? Really? Like, they're actually dead. And he just looks like, kind of does like a smirk. Like, you know, shit happens. So there's a lot of funny moments like that. And he's got a real dry humor to himself. But at the same time, everybody's a really well-developed character. Finley, he's fantastic. You know, and he has a lot of great parts to play in the show as well. Same with Roscoe, her character, and there is kind of like a potential romance you see kind of brewing. You see it in the trailer as well. And it's just great. And you even see like a lot of softer sides in a way to the Reacher character. You see that this isn't just some like blank like Terminator-esque dude. This is a person who's a very human guy. You know, the things he does are obviously because of his humanity and stuff like that, and how he obviously cares about a lot of things. Like he really likes a dog in this, right? And you got to watch this clip of his damn dog. It's actually it's pretty funny, right? He's all about this dog, and he goes and visits this dog in some random dude's yard and doesn't give a damn. Like it's crazy. Some states, people will shoot you over that. Like wild stuff. But here we go.
Pull over.
What the hell are we doing?
Long story. Be right back.
And Roscoe's just like, what the hell is going on? Meanwhile, there's been this whole story arc on the side about this damn dog. There's like really great moments like that on the side of this show.
Enough of this.
What are you doing?
Dog didn't do anything to anybody. Doesn't deserve this.
Told you to stay off my property.
Seriously?
Let's see how you like it.
He just puts it on him, just like embarrasses him in his own yard. He's out of control. And then here goes Roscoe, who's a cop. She's just like, what in the hell just happened? And why is my boss like that quick to help get a dog and load it up in the car?
What are we gonna do now?
Like, these moments are hilarious, you know, and they have a lot of great stuff like that where you start to see the dynamic of these three characters form, as well as the whole constantly accelerating story of the criminal investigation, right? So overall, I would give this show a solid 9 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed this show. Right away, I knew after I watched the first episode, I was like, this is great. Like, this is just like grade A, like formula type show, like that's so on point on just the stuff that just gets me into it. Like crime stuff, you know, like detective type shit, you know what I mean? Great action. And like a lot of dry humor and like a good team dynamic that I was surprised about. So yeah, man, this is a really great show. And I think it got it approved for a second season. And if not, it absolutely needs to be. I would love to see this in a bunch more seasons. And I think as well, I would probably like to take some time to maybe listen to some audiobooks while I drive, maybe of the first few books, to see especially how much the Killing Floor book is like the first season. You know, and the comparisons there. And let me know what you guys think. If you've even watched this and you think it, and you've read the books, let's say, and you think it's pretty similar, or at least a better interpretation, or maybe not a better interpretation than you may have seen with the Tom Cruise version, let me know. But either way, I thoroughly enjoyed this show, and I felt like for some reason it just feels like a breath of fresh air compared to some of like the half softy shit they do with a lot of the action shows you see, especially with like a lead male character like this, So once again, really great. I highly recommend this. This is on Amazon Prime, right? Or Prime Video or Amazon Video or whatever you would call it. But either way, now let's get into just a little bit of spoiler section. Minor spoilers. Spoilers. Boop, 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 boop. Although I do kind of think I spoiled a minor little side story with the dog thing. But at the same time, that was like one of the minor side stories. There's a bunch of little side things that they do just that are funny and you get a kick out of, and you also get excited for when they pop up that are part of why I enjoy the show so much, right? And now at the end here, he solves the crime and you find out that the guy who was killed that threw him into this was his actual brother. And you find out a lot about his history, and you find out a lot about how he grew up and the dynamic he had with his brother and with his family and everything like that. And it's really interesting when he finds out that the people that were killing all these people brutally, right, are like basically the one Kleiner member's son and some of his goons. And this guy like straight up kills the father. Like he was actually, the father wasn't really as behind any of this stuff as you would think, or maybe not towards the end of it, right? And shit just went totally bonkers, and you see this crazy, scene where they have a big last shootout type deal, and they rescue the kids because then the character Hubble's still alive, and his wife and kids get kidnapped, you know what I mean, as well as Roscoe. So it's this whole big rescue mission, and it's a big happy ending type deal at the end. And then he kind of goes off back on his hobo-ness and travels off into the sunset kind of deal, hitchhiking. And I'm really excited to see where it goes from there. And I'm excited to see, I don't know if the books have those characters as return characters or he comes back to Margrave or what. Let me know if you know. But I'm going to look into that, and I would like to see what they're going to do with the second season, which I would assume all I'd have to do is read the summary for the second book and then see from there. But either way, there's 24 books, so there's a lot of places they can go with this. And I watched some interviews with this Alan Richardson guy about this show, and it seems like it was a grueling experience, but it seems like he's super into it, and he's read like everything there is, and you even get a guest appearance, right, by the author, which is Lee Child, right? I guess he makes an appearance, I think, at some point in the show. You see him. And so he had a lot of involvement with it. And it feels like overall they did a big, fan service kind of thing with this show as well. And great job. Again, 9 out of 10. Highly recommend this. Reacher. Check this out on Amazon Prime. Zukatsu.
Feel like they tracking me. Yo, let me get on one. Nah, go get your tracks up. Homie, can I steal some? Homie, you can't stack up. My brother, can you shout me? You're barking up the wrong tree. My dog, why do you doubt me? Cause you can't do shit without me.
Real at the radio and never play it, but that's cool. The enemy's supposed to hate it.